Hello everyone, welcome back to Philosophild. I'm Alice. Throughout our lives, we're always exposed to so much knowledge, or namely, the truth. We are told that the earth has gravity, that too much caffeine would keep you awake until super late at night, and having a nice body shape means being pretty, etc. But have you ever got confused, or inquired and doubted the authenticity of the truths that the world indoctrinated you? Who and how do they know what is the correct thing or explanation to certain phenomena? In our last video, we explored the definition of knowledge based on Plato's allegory of the cave. Today, we're going to dive deeper into the origin of knowledge, as in the way that we know. In philosophy, there have been two contradicting theories explaining the origin of knowledge: empiricism and rationalism. According to empiricism, the one and only reliable source that knowledge can be obtained from is sensory experiences. The theory asserts that our beliefs were formed by us processing the raw information that we gain by our sensors. Thus, the notion of innate knowledge is not acceptable in empiricism. A posteriori, which means based on experience, is considered as the sole and necessary condition for people to obtain knowledge, and more complex knowledge are obtained through induction and deduction on basic observations. We can allocate empiricism into three main types. The first one, classical empiricism. It completely rejects the notion of innate knowledge and declares that people only start to form knowledge when they begin to experience the world and to gather information. The theory is also related to tabula rasa theory of John Locke, which he believed that people are born as tabula rasa, which means blank slate. The second type is radical empiricism. Before we start looking into this, I need to introduce a new term, which is verificationist principle, which means the meaning of the statement is connected to experiences that can confirm the statement. Radical empiricists were convinced by this principle and claimed that one cannot know nothing, not even talk about nothing, but the ones that they've experienced. For example, one cannot say that penguins live in the South Pole if they haven't been physically present in the South Pole and saw penguins living there. The last one is named moderate empiricism. It is a form of empiricism which allows the existence of knowledge that isn't grounded in the senses, though still viewed as an exception from the rule. Take 1 plus 1 equals 2 as an example. It is an exception that moderate empiricism accepts as a piece of knowledge that do not need sensory affirmation. Nevertheless, knowledge is still mainly gained from sensory investigation. Next, let's move on to rationalism. In rationalism, philosophers believe that innate knowledge must exist and reasoning is the origin of knowledge. This thesis that the rationalists proposed can be categorized into three types as well. The intuition and deduction thesis is the first one, and it states that there is a proposition which came from intuition, and all the knowledge can be deduced from this piece of proposition. In other words, the knowledge that we know all can by deducting intuitive premises with valid arguments, and as long as the premises are true, the conclusion has to be true. In a real-life scenario, we know that 4 is an even number, and it is larger than 3. So we can deduce that there is an even number larger than 3. And this piece of knowledge is called a priori, which means gained independent from senses. Following up, the innate knowledge thesis, similar to the intuition/deduction theory, it also agrees upon that knowledge is acquired a priori. However, instead of believing that knowledge came from deductive reasoning, this thesis indicates that having some knowledge in a certain area or subject is just a very nature that humans own, and the origin of knowledge depends on the philosophers. In simple terms, some rationalists believe that knowledge came from the nature world, whereas some others believe that it came from God's instructions. The innate concept thesis, the third and the last one, claims that humans have certain knowledge that they employ in a certain subject. Sensory experiences, on the other hand, though still not considered a validate resource that we can gain knowledge from, it can trigger the process of innate knowledge coming to our consciousness. Moreover, the more removed the knowledge is from our experience, the more innate it is. In short, the formula of trigonometry is more innate than the feeling of joy, as the feeling of joy is less removed from our sensory experiences than the formula of trigonometry is. Interestingly, philosophers Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz and Baruch Spinoza, both being rationalists, acknowledge that they haven't thought of any other areas of plausible real-life practice for rationalism other than maths. Therefore, we can tell that these two theories aren't so opposing to each other, though they appear to be completely contradicting. Being a classical empiricist myself, I also reflect my standpoint quite often from time to time. As much as I reject the notion of innate knowledge and the belief that all of the knowledge that we own, including what substances are considered food, our social obligations, and the concept of individual, family, or community, etc., are indoctrinated to us, and we were all born not knowing anything in a certain way, I sometimes wonder, do physical reactions such as the symptoms that we have after eating poisonous food count as innate knowledge from our body that this is something that we're not supposed to take in? I guess I'll leave the questions to you guys. Where do you think that our knowledge come from? Leave your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye!